You are now watching abnormal television. There are images that defy logic, recordings untouched by reason, and moments that science cannot explain. Each frame, a whisper from the unknown. Open your eyes. You've entered the abnormal.
Hey, what's going on here?
We need samples of genes and chromosomes from your kind to develop a stronger breed of people. Because on our planet, radiation damaged our DNA so that we are dying off to extinction unless we learn the secret of your vitality.
We'll help you. But you know, we need help too.
What do you need?
The people on Earth are suffering from many kinds of pollution. We need your advanced technology to help us develop a clean source of energy.
The Donald Trump Back to the Future rabbit hole continues. Let's get into it. So just the other day, you guys, it was the 40th anniversary for the classic movie Back to the Future, in which Marty McFly has to go 88 miles per hour, okay, 88, into the future and to the past to make time travel happen. Put a pin in that. In part 2, there is some serious parallels between Donald Trump and the villain Biff Tannen, where he becomes rich and powerful, almost like he was predicting that he was going to be POTUS one day. Now, this version of Biff Tannen, where he gives himself the almanac so he can get rich and powerful, this all has to do with wealth. Now, I said that the number in this movie is 88, 8 being the number of wealth, so here's the thing. If you've been paying attention, Trump keeps mentioning 88 over and over again.
Favorite check, the tariff line. They called me back an hour later. Sir, we've taken in $88 billion in tariffs. 11,888 murderers came into our country, and some we've already gotten out, but...
Now, if you paid attention to that last number, it's actually the same number as this executive order, 11888, signed by Ford, which has to do with taxes and tariffs and America's wealth. But that's where it just begins. And while all this is going on, at the same time, isn't it weird, after 14 years of being dormant, 8 wallets holding 80,000 Bitcoin worth $8 billion starts to move around again? What are the chances? Now, going back to the movie Back to the Future, again, some major parallels. Look at these headlines where it says Trump pulls off biggest upset, Hill Valley man wins, Biff wins again, Trump wins again, luckiest man on earth. Literally the same thing saying luckiest man on earth, and the title says Back to the Future. Here's another weird thing. The character that was based off of Donald Trump, Biff Tannen, was born in 1937, in which 2025 makes him 88 years old. Not to mention, the same year that Marty McFly goes into the future, 2015, is the same year that Donald Trump runs for president and then later becomes president. And sidebar, 88 years ago, Amelia Earhart disappears, so there's that. Kind of random, but I thought that was pretty interesting too. All in all, my prediction is I think we're about to see something major in the financial world, maybe with crypto, with banks, something with money, so be on the lookout. And there's way more to this whole Donald Trump Back to the Future rabbit hole. I'm going to put that in my Break the Matrix community, but what do you guys think about all this? Let me know below.
Well, there's a new report that says there have been more than 60 UFO sightings in New York State this year. So, are aliens real? There are a lot of questions when it comes to what exists beyond our atmosphere.
I felt like this was like a build-up to a sci-fi show, the way you were reading that. All right, well, we know no one loves a good UFO story like my man, my partner, Good Day Wake Up anchor, Dan Bowens. He's here.
Listen, I'm on record to say that there are no aliens, okay? That's why they always give me these stories, because they know it makes me very upset. There are no aliens. We're all alone in the galaxy. That's what I believe, but it's not about what I believe.
What about in the universe outside our galaxy?
Well, see, now that's a trick question. That's a trick question. I think we'll just have to find out, but the question is it aliens? Is it drones? Is it something else? Whatever it is, New Yorkers are seeing something in the skies, more than 60 UFO sightings so far this year. Let's get into some of these numbers. The National UFO Reporting Center. Did you know that existed? The National UFO Reporting Center? Well, it's logged dozens of self-reported sightings across New York, none independently verified. Okay, very suspicious. Reports include green orbs zigzagging over Norwood, which is in the Bronx River area, and helicopters allegedly chasing glowing saucers in Huntington, which is the North Shore of Long Island, Suffolk County. 6 new cases were added in June alone as mysterious aerial activity continues all across the state, from upstate to the heart of the city. So what do you believe? We asked some New Yorkers this morning.
I never really, I don't know. I don't think so, but you never know, right?
I don't know. I think there's a lot of question marks out there, but who knows?
I just don't think it's very likely. I mean, you'd think that, if they're there, they'd make contact with us or take us over or something.
See, I'm with that guy. What is, they'd take us over, they'd be here. We would have, somebody at some point in human history would have more than just these strange sightings that we see. Okay, so we're looking at this video. You guys remember this here? This is not the UFOs, right?
No, it was all the drone stuff.
That's right. These are the,
Jersey,
that's
right?
exactly.
Everybody was freaking out.
They were freaking out. The strange lights, not just confined to New York. Last November, December, New Jersey, a wave of those drone sightings. A lot of people were looking up. They couldn't figure out if it was drones, if it was planes, but they were near some of those nuclear plants, airports. Investigations launched by the FBI, the FAA, the Pentagon, the White House had to weigh in, and it turned out that those were most often misidentified aircraft, hobby drones, an atmospheric phenomena. Okay, how about that?
UFOs!
That sounds a little suspicious, an atmospheric phenomena. Well, anyway, we also have this video that, almost everyone has seen some of these images over the last couple of years too. Okay, see this? This is from those military planes that are out there, these videos that have been taken. And Congress has really ramped up its investigation into UAPs, which stands for Unidentified Aerial Phenomenon. That's a new, more official government way of saying UFO. After decades of silence, lawmakers have held multiple public hearings, most recently in February and July, questioning military and intelligence leaders on unidentified aerial phenomena. The big question, are we being kept in the dark? Is it a cover-up, or is it something else?
Here. Look at how they shot these 2 rockets, and look what's waiting in the sky for them. It is a UFO, a UAP, whatever you want to call it, and it disarmed both of the rockets, and it takes off. What?
Hi there. Mindy St. Clair here from the Medium Place.
The eclipse cannon is about to turn this planet into a flaming pile of rubble, wiping out everything. Humanity is a failed experiment.
What?
So enjoy, but don't enjoy too much. Don't laugh or show emotion or anything.
But the question today is, can a brick melt? Here is what I believe is also a melted brick, but this has been melted from a past reset.
When you look at these buildings with the material that they used to have, you sit there and wonder, well, how did that burn? Something maybe with plasma or something maybe, like a DEW. These buildings were built out of this super heavy stone, like just solid stone.
Why is this place always on fire? Isn't everything made out of rocks?
Either the beginning of human existence was in or around the year 644, based on math, or something massive happened and reset the population very recent.
You joking, right, bruh? You joking, right, bruh? Like, really, bruh? Like, for real, bruh? For real, bruh? For real, right? For real, right? For real, right? For real.
So spread the word. No one talks about the reboots.
This time, further south, where we get the same sort of thing, where the entire structure looks like it's been melted.
They claim horse and carriage built all of these buildings. They're a damn lie. Damn lie. Damn lie. Damn lie. It was energy plants where you got healed from. That's what that was about.
Just look at that obvious melt down the right side. Undeniable. What gives it away is that micro pocket of survival. That's a 4th degree pocket of survival.
This one should also be very obvious if you're a beginner and if you have a little bit of critical thinking left. You can see here at the top how it's just melting like ice cream. You see dripping coming down, you see scorching, you see here rock curtain coming down, you see bricks turn into blocks here, you see more dripping here in this area, rock curtain. You see here how it's all melted smooth just because it was cooked. And down here again you see a rock curtain coming over, covering the building, all the melt flow over the building and covering it. It's very obvious. It's not a mountain, and nobody carved anything.
Brick. It's all brick internals. Flooded in, flooded over, melted. This is all melting down, and this is all flooded out with its own brick melt. Here's an obvious example of this right here, which is looking like almost Petra style. Well, it's all brick, and this is just what's left over from the building melting on itself. Lots more brick and blocks back here, and more Petra stuff looking. The architecture is not matching up. I mean, you're not gonna just fill these bricks in here in this mountain. It looks confusing because they tell us that this was built in the rock, when actually the rock is the building. Just want to say I appreciate all the researchers out there, and thank you for hanging out with this short version of explaining the melt.
The Paranormal Chick here. So take a look at this old world map. There's so many interesting things that I have to tell you about it. It is crazy. First, this was made in 1565 by an Italian artist. Now, look at the continents. Everything is still together. I don't even see Australia. Then when you move over to the United States, Greenland, Canada, United States, Alaska, Russia, it's still one landmass. Interesting, right? Because I thought the continents separated hundreds and thousands of years ago. Mind you, this was made in 1565. Now take a look at some of those animals in the United States. One oddly looks like a griffin. And the crocodile, it looks further up north than where it's typically at now. Then you go down into South America, looks pretty normal. But then there's Antarctica. It's not covered in ice. And it should be. Take a look at it. There's animals there, there's land masses, and it's huge. Also, dragons, unicorns, what? This is a really accurate map. So, is the artist make believing? Is this a lie? Because everything else is pretty spot on. Tell me what you think. Like, post, comment, repost, let me know.
Alright, I'm gonna fuck y'all up with some shit on this one. Alright, this is the Urbano Monte map from 1587. Excuse me. North Pole. No ice. No ice around any of these areas, okay? There's North America, South America, Africa, India, Russia, China. Okay, so very similar to this map. North America, South America, Africa, India, China, Russia. Okay? Only thing different, Australia. There is no Australia here because it hasn't been discovered yet. This is 1587. Australia wasn't discovered until 1606. So that's why that's not there. But my main question is, if this is a globe flattened out and this is on the bottom, right? What the fuck is this? There's no ice on it. And guess what? Antarctica hadn't been discovered yet. Antarctica was discovered in 1820. And if you look, well, look, there's an alligator. There's a camel. Warm weather animals. So, You want to explain to me, first thing, what the hell is this? All this land. And second thing, what froze them? What happened between 1587 and 1892 where those areas got frozen?
Warning signs of satanic behavior may be apparent, such as a sudden, bitterly antagonistic attitude towards family and religion, listening exclusively to heavy metal rock music, almost to the point of addiction. When one or more of these warning signs are evident, you should look further for ritual items such as a pentagram or other satanic symbols, black or red robes, a decorative dagger or knife, a chalice or goblet, black candles, a personal diary with a black cover, which is called a Book of Shadows, and copies of publications, such as the Satanic Bible and the Satanic Rituals, and possibly a small makeshift altar. If you discover items such as these, experts advise you contact your local law enforcement agency at once.
And the worst part is, they're always telling us.
No, Mom, it wasn't the actual devil. No, they were just dressed as the devil, Mom. I have to go. Yeah, you did warn me about Hollywood. Yes, you did, Mom. Yeah, you did. I will. Thank you. She said she'll be praying for all of us. Thank you. All right.
Yeah, I'd like to thank the devil and all the dark lords.
In this movie, you're fighting the devil. I call him Beelzebub, Lucifer. It's how I got this job. How did you prepare for the role of fighting with the devil?
I did research in satanic kind of cults and stuff like that. In Los Angeles right now, there's like 50,000 devil worshippers. That's not even including the agents.
Yeah.
But let me
Our
tell
crowd
you
was too busy cheering satanic worship to hear the joke.
exactly,
That was the sad part.
My upbringing, I grew up in a Christian environment. It took me to my adult years or leaving home where I could really, really try on something different for myself. That was Satanism. It's working out really well. I made a pact. That's why the movie came out so well.
Thank you to Satan for giving me inspiration on how to play this role.
Had we sold our soul to the devil? How else can you explain us being here?
Sammy told me he worshipped the devil. We were in Dan Tana's on that restaurant with all the pictures up. Sammy was like, Satan is as powerful as God. And I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? He says, why do you think there's so much anger in the world?
But they're just joking, right?
Famous people who worship Satan, Part 7, Taylor Swift. So Taylor Swift came on the scene actually when I was in high school, and everybody fell in love with her. And as it always is, and we've covered this before, it started off so innocently. So we're all just like, hey, this woman, she's writing all these love songs and, no big deal, right? And then, as usual, when it comes to this industry, things started to take kind of a weird turn. And Taylor started to have this weird obsession with Red, which she actually named one of her albums. But, you can't really make anything out of that. I mean, to say red and satanic and all that, that would be taking it way too far. So we move on. Now, Taylor had this TV show that she was on, and she wanted to respond to a politician who had some really conservative views, specifically pro-life views. And Taylor, in response to her, said, I am a Christian. That's not what we stand for. So she actually said that basically Christians do not stand for the life of a baby inside the womb. Really think about that for a second. You see, this is what these people do. People start to worship her as a celebrity, and then she pushes her ideologies on these other people who worship her. They start to just believe it blindly, and everything that she's saying is completely against the word of Yah, which is exactly what the enemy desires. Now, you can watch a lot of Taylor's videos, even in her early years, and how she actually represented goddesses all throughout those videos. And we could make those connections if you guys want to see that, let me know. But really recently you started to see some of the evil that is coming from this woman in the witchcraft that she is promoting. And so we're going to get into that on the next video. We're going to look at some of the clips, and you guys need to be warning your children about this woman, and y'all need to be using discernment when you're listening to some of the music. This secular music is not good for you guys. Like, you got to be careful with this stuff. So like and follow, and I'll see you on the next one.
This is an antique photograph of a man made into a demon, a reward bestowed to him after a decades-long career in the study of dark occult practices, years spent in ancient grimoires and in service to godlike dark entities. I want to note that the vast majority of those accused of these practices were actually innocent victims of persecution, scapegoated by close-minded bigots of their times, and that Anton LaVey's modern satanic temple is a political entity that does not actually believe in the biblical devil it is named for. But don't be fooled. The actual worship of dark demonic entities goes back thousands of years, continuing at least into the too recent past. A common practice in many of these cults is the binding of dark energies and spirits into small idols to pass on to others. My ancestors locked away several of these cursed items to keep others safe from them. Just one small part of my family's and their storied allies' work against those who worship the darkness, which you can learn more about here. Those who truly worship devils could summon various forms of demonic creatures, interbreed with them to create cambions, and sometimes be made into devils themselves.
Have you heard the theory that President Lincoln was assassinated by the Rothschilds?
Oh, yeah.
The Rothschilds, they were basically sold the Confederate banknotes in Europe, so they're supporting the Confederates.
No way.
Because Abraham Lincoln wanted to get rid of the European banking system and make it the U.S. banking system.
The craziest thing about the Civil War that nobody ever talks about was Russia's role in the Civil War. And what happened was that the Russians had just kicked the Rothschilds out, the banking cabal out, and they had heard that, you know, basically they were trying to do the same thing in America, and Alexander, I think it was, actually sent Russian Navy to our borders, and you can actually see pictures of Russian troops with northern troops as well. And that's a big reason, because Spain, France, and Britain were about to come in on the side of the South.
I mean, this is adding up to the Rothschild banking system. Don't learn that in elementary school.
Not a chance. That's wild.
All history is a lie.
Yeah, I mean, it's written by the winners, right?
It's written by the winners, and it's there to basically form a group agreement that these people are the good guys and these people are the bad guys, and that's just how it's been done. And when everyone goes, dude, is everything a conspiracy? 100%.
A lot of you did not like my video of Kesha, calling her out for using things like portals in her concerts, using flickering or flashing lights, often used in mind programming or cognitive manipulation. And if you don't believe me, feel free to screenshot or research yourself. She was also seen casting spells at her audience, and you guys can think what you want, but this is a witch casting spells on her audience. She is harvesting your energy at this very point. I also called her out for using Masonic imagery, which isn't surprising because many artists who are represented or managed by the CIA show this kind of symbolism. Some say symbolism will be their downfall, but I don't know. So many people don't see it. I also pointed out that I found it interesting that Kesha has the all-seeing eye in one hand and Saturn in the other, as many artists do, like Adele, Miley Cyrus, and Katy Perry, which led me down a deep rabbit hole of the Roman god Saturn and Saturn worship, who is also linked to the creation of the underworld. Now, what I found interesting is it talks about a mythical golden age where Saturn ruled, and it was a time of inversion and revelry. It involved a temporary suspension of social order, including gift-giving, feasting, and the relaxation of moral constraints. Now, where have I heard the term golden age before?
Approaching the dawn of America's golden age. It's going to be a golden age for America. We have things that nobody else.
I feel like it couldn't be any more obvious at this point. Those that don't see it, I feel like, are doing it willingly. They don't care. They don't believe. They don't see. They're spiritually sleeping. It's time to wake up.
The entire world is flooding right now. Everything you see happening behind me is all happening in the last 24 hours as the death toll in Texas rises to 78 people. And I kid y'all not, Kerr County right now is warning of another wall of water approaching. I hadn't even shown you the most terrifying part, but we'll get there. So this is Indonesia. This right here is in the UK right now. This is Pakistan in the last 24 hours. Again, massive flooding, historical flooding happening all over the earth. Wonder why? This you see behind me at the beginning of the video as well is in Italy. I'm telling you, things are just crazy revelatic right now.
Not a real word.
I know, I made it up and it's my word. You can use it though. This right here is in France. This up here is in North Carolina. This right behind me is Algeria in the last 24 hours. Can we just agree that this is not normal? And the people that have been claiming all this stuff is normal is absolutely fooling themselves. And this right here is the terrifying part. This is an anomaly map. It shows the difference in average temperature. And right this minute in the Mediterranean, it's 8 degrees Celsius different. That is 44 degrees Fahrenheit different of the average. Last week I was warning of a great hurricane for 2025 based off the temperature maps and charts going back 100, 200 years. Because every time there's a massive shift up or down in temperature, we saw a giant hurricane that year. And yes, I made that prediction in that video a week before the Texas stuff happened. Because if you learn the correlation and the patterns, you can accurately predict what the weather is going to look like that year. And look, you're perfectly capable of doing the same thing I did. Take this chart, look at every massive shift, what year it was, and check what hurricane was there. And if these patterns and correlations would go back to 1780, it's the exact year of the shift for the Great Hurricane. Again, 22 to 28,000 deaths. And as I've been showing you last year, all this crazy heat all over the place correlates perfectly with all this abnormal frequency. Everything is frequency. By the way, completely unrelated to frequency, remember, Alaska had its first ever heat warning. Heat frequency. And again, you take our chart, you look at our year, you see it's time for a massive shift, but we're shifting towards massive heat, unlike we've ever seen before. And this right here is what it's gonna bring. Don't believe me? Bookmark it.
People are asking me in my DMs, can you please talk about Twilight? Y'all asked for it. So I guess I'll share it with the rest of everybody. This right here is the story of the fallen angels. He's a fallen angel and he went into the daughter of man. He's a fallen angel on earth. Hybrid, fallen angel. Hybrid, fallen angels. Two houses becoming one stick through the woman, through her child, which would be the birth of two houses becoming one stick in a DNA fusing. This will be Jacob, this will be Esau. You asked for it, coding the obvious that you can't see. Ta-ta, sleight of hand.
Why were giants left out of our history? It's one of the biggest questions I get asked. To understand that, you must understand that we've been lied to about far more than just giants. Giants are just one little piece of our history that has been distorted and erased. And that distortion and outright manipulation is done to promote their narrative, that we came from nothing, hurtling around on a spinning rock amongst an endless sea of nothing. They want us thinking the future is here and now. They want us looking only to the media, only to the ruling elites for guidance in this bright new future they tell us. They want us paying no attention to what they perceive as a primitive and uninteresting past. Because once you start looking at the past with a free and open mind, removed from academia and what we've been taught, you see not just giants left out, but a magnificent and inspiring world with technologies not possible today, architecture made by those who shared this realm with us, and far grander than anything we produce today. And it'll start having you truly question just how advanced we really are. For those who control the narrative of history, control the world. And a population blissfully unaware of their true past is a world all that much easier to control for them. Question everything, friends.
Thank you for watching. See you next time.